Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Lamb Trades, and today I'll be taking you through my watch list for the week of January 22nd, 2021. If you're new here, this is my weekly watch list video that I show what stocks are at the top of my list to watch out for this week. Don't be shy and hit that subscribe, as I am posting content like this every single week, and I would not want you to miss out. Make sure you stay till the end of the video to see what my favorite play for the week is. And if you want to keep up to date with my trades and follow along with what I am following during the week, I will leave my Discord link in the description where you can join and see exactly what trades I'm looking at every single day. Also, I do want to invite you guys to leave any stocks you want me to chart or go over in the comments, and I will be sure to cover it in the next video. To begin, let's go over the important events that are happening this week. On the economic side of things, what we want to be looking at this week are the initial and continuing jobless claims on Thursday and personal income and consumer spending on Friday. These will give us a chance to see how the economy is doing and if more or less people are out of work. But the main thing we want to be focused on is earnings. As we pointed out last week, we were watching Netflix due to the impact that it has on the rest of the FANG. Well, if we bring up Netflix, we can see that they beat, and as a result, the last couple of days, we've seen a run up in some of the big tech names that are reporting next week, like Facebook, Microsoft, Apple, and Google. This week is going to be huge for earnings. Let's see what companies we'll be watching out for. On Tuesday, after market close, we're going to be watching Microsoft, AMD, and Starbucks. Wednesday, we're going to be watching Boeing and AT&T. After market, we'll be watching Apple, Tesla, and Facebook. And then on Thursday, we'll be watching American Airlines, McDonald's and MasterCard pre-market, and Visa aftermarket. These are the big stocks that I believe will have an impact and move the market this week for earnings. Now let's take a look at SPY. So this week, we were able to bounce off that 374 level and continue to all-time highs on Thursday. It will be very important to see what SPY does tomorrow because we are at a key level. As I have stated before, I am still bullish on SPY as long as it's able to stay above this once resistance trend line on the monthly time frame. So this is that channel that SPY has been bouncing from support trend line to resistance trend line for the past 12 years. And this year, the past couple months, we were actually able to break out. So as long as we're able to stay above this once resistance trend line at 360, I am still bullish on SPY. But if we look what SPY did this week, we can see it did break below that 9 SMA on the 4-hour chart, which is the average of the last 9 candles on the 4-hour time frame. We had used this 9 SMA as support on the way up to all-time highs, and after we broke below, we fell towards that 380 support, and we were saved by this support trend line. By breaking below, it flipped the narrative and turned the trend bearish, and we were rejected off of it on Friday, as we can see right here. This is also very bearish, so I will be watching if we're able to push above this SMA, as we do have a support on SPY that we bounced off of right here. If we are unable to push above this 9 SMA on the 4-hour, I will watch for another bounce off of these support trend lines, and if both break on the technical side, we could be heading down. However, due to it being earnings this week and how well Netflix did, the market is assuming that those big tech names will do the same, and if the market is correct, Microsoft will be the one to set the tone on Tuesday after hours. That was a lot, but it is very important that you pay attention to those levels on SPY and those important earnings. I would be careful holding any swing plays this week, as the market will be heavily impacted by earnings, and how a company does is completely out of your hands. I would be cautious for that, but now let's go over the stocks we were watching last week. The first stock we were watching was Facebook. We were watching for a bounce of the 200 SMA and that $246 support level, and that turned out to be very profitable, as Facebook rallied 30 points this week, not having a single red day. It was able to break out of this initial downtrend, so I would watch for a continuation. However, it will be heavily affected by earnings this week. The next stock we were watching was AMD. If we pull up AMD, we can see that we were watching for a bounce off of that support trend line. And as you can see, we got a perfect bounce off the trend line and a run up into earnings next week. I would expect AMD to beat earnings due to the fact that Intel did well, and I would not be surprised if we're able to see a push upwards on Monday in anticipation for earnings on Tuesday. And the last stock that we looked at was DraftKings. We were watching for a bounce of this initial resistance turn support, and we're looking to see for a continuation upwards. Well, DraftKings broke down through the support on Tuesday, falling to $50 a share, but then recovering back over that trend line. It is now at the same point that we called out last week, and I'll be watching for a bounce to confirm this trend line as support. If you guys are still watching, I would appreciate if you could like and subscribe, as I do put a lot of work into these videos every week. And if you want, click the link in our description for my completely free Discord. Now, let's get into the plays we're watching this week. The first play that I'll be watching for is Apple. Apple had recently broke below the support trend line, but quickly recovered off of support at 126. After Netflix crushed earnings, Apple began to run due to the FANG connection. I believe that Apple will beat earnings due to the fact that they did not report the iPhone 12 sales last quarter, and those sales are up 27% compared to the iPhone 11, and their iPad and accessory sales are apparently up over 40% this quarter as well. I am bullish on Apple going into earnings, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them push higher now that they broke through and closed above this 138 resistance. I'll be watching for a continuation upwards on Apple through Monday and Tuesday, and I will be watching but not holding through earnings. The next play I'll be watching is Square. As you can see on the chart, Square has had a rough week. It was unable to hold above the support on the descending triangle it was forming, and as a result fell to that 220-215 level for support. I do like that it was able to hold above 220 going into Friday's close, and I'll be watching for a retest of that 225 level as it may be turned resistance. Square does not report earnings until the middle of February, but with all of the tech stocks rallying right now, I am surprised that Square is staying still. I will be watching for either a break or rejection off of this 225 level. And my final and favorite play for the week is BlackBerry. I actually called this one out in the Discord as it was playing out, so if you want to join that, it's linked in the description. But BlackBerry was forming a bullish flag on the 4-hour chart, and I was waiting for a break to enter into a long position. We did see a break of this upper resistance trend line, and after it broke, it ran almost 20%. This is not the first time that this has happened, as we can see BlackBerry actually did this a couple weeks ago. After it broke out of this initial bull flag, it ran almost the same amount. I will watch for a continuation on BlackBerry, as I am still bullish and in the position we entered on Friday. However, I would not be surprised to see a pullback to either the 9 SMA, or maybe we're able to form a support before rallying again. The reason I feel this way is because BlackBerry is very extended on the 4-hour and the daily time frame. And lastly, I just want to cover gold. Due to the rise in inflation that is bound to happen after the release of the $1.9 trillion stimulus package, we have seen so much printing on the dollar in the last year that commodities like gold will most likely be the ones to outshine the market. Gold is one of the most famous commodities that is used to hedge inflation, so I will be watching gold to see how it reacts as more news on the stimulus comes out. I'll be also watching Bitcoin, as it has been outshining gold through these stimulus talks. But that is all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed that video, and if you made it this far and found this helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell button so you don't miss any of my content. I hope you all have a great week of trading, and don't forget to not risk more than you're willing to lose. These next few months will most likely be very volatile, so please be careful. Best of luck to you guys, and let me know if you have any questions in the comments. I'll see you all next week.